Hey guys, since today is my 31st birthday, I thought that I could do something different this time and tell you a story that I have never shared with anyone else before. As many of you may know, I am a gamer and I've played all kinds of video games since I was a kid. I also enjoy playing different genres of video games, but there have always been a couple of those games that I've enjoyed playing a lot more than others. I've played games like Call of Duty, Hearthstone, Warcraft 3, Medal of Honor, Overwatch, and obviously Geometry Dash. But my most played game is StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 is a real-time strategy game that requires a lot of skill and multitasking. Now I'm going to tell you how I actually ended up playing against the very top players of Europe and what it took for me to get to that level. It all started way before StarCraft 2 was released. When I was about 12 years old, I discovered the original StarCraft that had been released in 1998. I immediately fell in love with the game and its mechanics. Especially, I enjoyed the multiplayer mode against real players. I wasn't particularly good at StarCraft, but I enjoyed playing it, and I played it for many years. However, everything changed when I heard that StarCraft 2 was in development. I knew that it was going to be the game for me, so before it was released, I started to watch some StarCraft 2 streams from the beta tests to get myself familiar with the units, metagame, and strategies. I wasn't lucky enough to get invited into the beta myself. StarCraft 2 was finally released in summer 2010, and on the release day I went to a store to buy it. I was super excited to finally get the game, even though my laptop could just barely run the game. When there was a lot of action at the same time, the computer literally started lagging so much you couldn't tell what was happening in the game. That didn't stop me though. First, I wanted to finish the single-player campaign. After that, I quickly started to play its competitive online multiplayer. When the game was released, there were 5 different leagues you could get placed in, depending on your skill level. Those were Bronze, Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond League. First, I got placed in the Silver League. Because I had watched a lot of streams and gameplay videos from the beta, I knew a lot of good strategies and how all the units and the game mechanics worked. That's why I was able to advance from the Silver League to the Gold League pretty quickly. In the Gold League, the players were definitely much better, but still, they mostly didn't know any good strategies and how to counter different combinations of units. I also learned and improved my own strategies a lot, and I was able to advance to the Platinum League within a couple of weeks. Now, the Platinum League is where things really started to get interesting. Not only that, Platinum players knew how all the units worked, but they also knew how and when to use them. Platinum League was definitely the first league where I faced some real challenges. Playing okay and executing strategies wasn't enough. You needed to have a strategy in mind when starting the game, and you also needed to use your resources deliberately. I realized that I needed to learn more new strategies and keep up with the metagame. Because the game was fairly new, the meta was changing a lot, and the best players were constantly finding new and better strategies. I improved my game, and slowly but surely I started to climb up the league. Eventually, I was able to get to the very top of the Platinum League. However, advancing to the Diamond League wasn't an easy task. I faced some really good players, and even though I won a lot of the games, I also lost a bunch of them. Still, I didn't give up, and after a couple of months, I was able to get to the Diamond League. However, I celebrated too early. Even though I was able to advance to the Diamond League, the promotion made me overconfident. I was able to win a lot of the games, but I was losing more games than I won. Eventually, I got kicked out of the Diamond League, back to the Platinum League. I was really angry when I got demoted, and I couldn't understand what was wrong with my gameplay, but I still kept playing the game, and eventually I understood that I wasn't mentally ready for the Diamond League, and that was the main reason why I got kicked out. When I got into the Diamond League, I simply tried too much to win, which actually caused me to lose more games, because it created stress and anxiety. But at least now I knew what I needed to do. I calmed myself, and instead of trying to win the game, I focused more on my own game and improved my strategies. I started to win games more and more, and climb up to the top of the Platinum League. This time I was easily able to beat my opponents, and got promoted to the Diamond League pretty easily. It was mostly because of the change of my attitude and mindset. I was finally placed in the Diamond League amongst the best players, and I was doing pretty well. However, StarCraft 2 was still a pretty new game, and even within the Diamond League, there were players with very different skill levels. The developer of the game, Blizzard, also realized this, and after about 6 months after the release of the game, 2 new leagues were introduced, Master League and Grandmaster League. These two new leagues were pretty different from the original leagues. In the original leagues, which were bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond, the player distribution was pretty equal, meaning that each league had about 20% of the players. Master and Grandmaster leagues had much smaller player distribution, so only the very best players would be able to be promoted there. At the time, only the very top 2% of the players would be able to get to the Master League, and only the top 200 best players of each region, Europe being my region, would be able to get to the Grandmaster League. So suddenly, the Diamond League wasn't that big an achievement anymore. Naturally, I wanted to get to the Master and Grandmaster League, so I started to grind more games. Obviously, getting to the Master League wasn't an easy thing to do. In fact, it was insanely hard. I needed to go to watch even more StarCraft 2 streams and really perfect my strategies and clear my mind when playing. I also needed to overall improve my playstyle and learn everything I could in order to get to the Master League. I grinded and slowly advanced to the top of the Diamond League, but actually getting promoted to the Master League was very hard. I didn't give up though, and after a couple of months I finally got myself into the Master League. But then history repeated itself once again. Just like with Diamond League in the past, I got quickly demoted from Master League. Again, instead of focusing on the game, I just wanted to win, which eventually made me lose, and was the reason for the demotion back to the Diamond League. But at least now I knew what was wrong with my game. I was certain that I would be able to get to the Master League, so I really started to focus on my gameplay once again, and I started to win more. After some time, I was finally able to get to the Master League, and this time, permanently. When I finally got promoted, I couldn't believe it at first. Only the top 2% of the players were able to get to this league so naturally. I was extremely happy for this achievement. It was the very first time in my life when I was really good at something, and it felt great. However, as time went by, I wanted to do even better, and there still was one more league to go, Grandmaster League. After getting to the Master League, I continued playing the game, but at some point I took a break. At the time, I wasn't sure if I would be able to get to the Grandmaster League, so it was a good time to rest a little bit. I came back to the game when the first expansion, the Heart of the Swarm, was released. Heart of the Swarm introduced a bunch of new units with unique abilities. Learning the mechanics of these new units was the key to success because the metagame was constantly changing because no one knew the best strategies yet. The game was at a similar spot when the game was first released. When I got back to the game, I immediately knew what I needed to do. First, I learned all the new mechanics of the new units and how to use them. Then I learned all the best strategies and kept up with the metagame. I also quickly learned how to play all the new maps that were added to the game. I knew that I also needed to start to watch professional StarCraft 2 streamers once again in order to learn the new strategies and playstyles. By doing all the things I just mentioned and playing the game constantly, I was able to climb to the very top of the Master League. I was better than ever before at the game. Then one day, when I was queuing up the game, I got matched against a Grandmaster player. I immediately started to panic, because I had never before matched against a top 200 player from the Grandmaster League. When the game started, I tried to play better than ever before. I didn't make mistakes, and I played pretty well, but the Grandmaster player was overall better than me, and I ended up losing the game. The match wasn't one-sided, but the opponent was just simply better than me. I was disappointed because I couldn't beat the match, but that was okay. I kept playing more and perfecting my strategies and gameplay. Then after some time, I got matched again against a Grandmaster player. This time, I really wanted to win. The game started and I executed my builds and strategies perfectly. I was evenly matched with the opponent, and it was definitely one of the hardest games I've ever played. I fought hard and we both had good and bad moments, and I remember having insane pressure because I really wanted and needed to win. Then it happened. I defeated my opponent and I was able to win a game against a Grandmaster player for the first time in my life. After the game, my hands were literally shaking because of the pressure and excitement. I couldn't believe that I was finally able to beat a top 200 player. It was definitely the greatest gaming moment I've ever had in my life. However, this was also the time when my gaming career peaked. After the victory, I didn't get promoted to Grandmaster League yet, so I kept playing the game. But I soon realized that it would take even more time and practice to consistently beat Grandmaster players. This is the time when I had to make a choice. I knew that I probably would be able to get to the Grandmaster League, but it would also mean that I would have to sacrifice most of my time in order to play the game. At the time, I was also getting better at making music, so I would have to choose between music and gaming. I decided to choose music and not go with the gaming path. Even though I never got into the Grandmaster League, it was still a huge achievement for me to battle against the very best players of StarCraft 2 and even win a game against one. I have no regrets of dropping my gaming career because I found music production to be as exciting as being a gamer. So what's the moral of the story? While I was gaming, I realized two things. Firstly, anything is possible if you are willing to work hard for it. It took a lot of time, but eventually I was able to compete against the very best players. Secondly, I learned that sometimes it's wiser to just move on and try something new. I could have become an even better player, but it would have cost me a lot of time and effort. Instead, I decided to focus on music, and I was able to achieve something completely new with it. In the end, it's up to you what you want to become because anything is possible. I hope you enjoyed my story, and I hope that it inspires you to overcome your challenges that you may face in your life. And as always, thanks for listening.